Okay, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It already did.
I already did. Hello, my name is Tisha Smith. I'm your reader for today. Thank you. The theme for 2026 is Open at the Top. For August, our theme has been the fear and furious. Today's topic is mobilizing anger. Gandhi mobilized his anger with this perspective. Use your anger for good. Anger to people usually means something negative. But anger is like electricity. It's just as powerful and just as useful, but only if you use it intelligently. It can be just as deadly and destructive if you abuse it. If we channel it, we can transform anger into power that can move the world. Anger, to me, and Gandhi, is a gift. And somatic and ancestral healing practitioner Miyaji offers her wisdom from helping others heal from trauma. She says, healthy anger is a call out for connection. And it's not out to hurt anybody. It's a call out for connection. So let us affirm together. I channel my anger into meaningful, courageous action. Very nice. Good job, everyone. And let me introduce and welcome Reverend Dr. Kathleen Johnson.
Thank you so much, Tisha.
You're welcome. Do you want me to remove that? I'm going to.
Is this turned off? No? Yes. You are. How about now? Is your pack on? And we turn it off. The battery is, it's red. So it looks like it's not going to last very long.
It's on.
It's on. Okay, I'll use this as long as I can, and then I'll turn to the handheld. Except I can't get it back. There we go. Back in my pocket. All right, so I want to begin with a story. It's the story of a monk, a Buddhist monk, who decided to just get away from where all of his friends were meditating and decided to meditate on his own. So he got in his boat and went out into the middle of the lake and closed his eyes and dropped into meditation. And several hours passed, undisturbed silence. It was so good. And then suddenly his boat was hit by another boat. And he could feel, his eyes were still closed, he could feel the anger rising within him. He was ready to let that other boatman have it. And he opens his eyes, and it's an empty boat. You may have heard this one before. It's an empty boat. No? Okay. It's an empty boat. And so at that moment, he achieved enlightenment. And you know why? Because he realized that he had projected an interpretation or a story or a meaning onto that experience. And realized any other time that okay. At 22. So the point is that any time. Do you want to achieve enlightenment too? So are we all ready to achieve enlightenment? The point is that any time that anger rises within us, it's important to ask ourselves, what is the meaning that I have put on this situation? Now that doesn't mean that we don't take action, and that's what today is all about, mobilizing our anger for good. But it does mean that we can, depending on how we interpret the situation, will either empower us for good or not. And I'm reminded of the perspective of A Course in Miracles, that everything is either love or a call for love. So whenever anything happens and there's a rise in anger, to remember there's either love or a call for love. Somebody is calling for love or somebody is offering love. So what if somebody's calling for love? What is ours to do? Love, extend love, love everybody. So, yeah, there's a song about that, isn't there? Okay, so today we're exploring mobilizing anger and an energy that is so powerful. And I just love having Gandhi as a great example of that. Understanding it is a gift if we consciously use it for good, if we use it for things that we value, the values that we hold dear. So let's begin. Let's talk first of all about righteous anger, because it's often very, very much misunderstood. And so the first thing that I think is very important is to offer a beautiful illustration of righteous anger. And so I am turning to a beautiful teaching story about Jesus entering the temple, and he sees all of these people buying and selling animals for sacrifice and so on and so forth. And the rage, the fury comes up within him, and he starts turning over all of the tables of the money changers. And then he says something very powerful. He said, "My temple will be called a house of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of thieves." So Jesus was standing for something. He was standing for keeping the temple sacred and for the purpose that it was meant to be for. And so after he chased away all the money changers and everybody, then he offered healing to people. People came to him for healing. So again, he was standing for something. When we are using our anger for good, and I'm emphasizing for and not against, then we're not focused on what we're against. So righteous anger then is I'm going to tell you what it's not first. It's not the stubborn that I am right and therefore my anger is righteous. It's not that. And it's also not punishment doled out by an angry God. Those are not concepts that align with what we teach. What we teach is the presence of God is love. The presence of God is love and intelligence, and therefore, and it's omnipresence, it's everywhere, it's within us, it's around us. And so then those concepts, the angry God that hands out punishment and all of that, it does not align with what we teach. So righteous anger then comes from an awareness of a cruelty, an injustice, a violence, a prejudice, or anything that's out of harmony with love. It's not permission to hate. It's not permission to dwell on what you're against. It's an energy lifted by love, which has great spiritual power. Power to keep our minds clear so we can focus on the direction that we're going and the kinds of actions that we want to take. And it gives us the courage to do that. And therefore we can take a stand for justice, for well-being, for dignity, for all of the things that we hold dear. So the spiritual question then to ask ourselves is, what cause does my anger serve? What cause does my anger serve? So that's righteous anger. The next is mobilizing anger within community or within the collective? How do we do that? So many of us have been taught that anger is bad, so there is a little bit of something to get over there. And therefore, we've maybe learned to handle anger in unhealthy ways, and that can be anything from locking it away within us so we don't even recognize we're angry. I mean, I've certainly had to, that's what's happened with me, is that sometimes I don't even know I'm angry until 2 days later or whatever. I've been working on that, but, or it can be denying that we're angry, or it can be the opposite of just being explosive. Just, something comes up and the anger rises and we're explosive and misuse anger. So anger, in that way, is toxic anger. So we have a choice when we're aware of how anger responds or reacts within us, and we can begin to learn to engage in anger that serves. So anger that serves dissipates when it's not acknowledged pretty quickly, because we're able to shift our perspective. But anger, toxic anger, on the other hand, lives in our bodies like a poison that's of unexpressed feelings and unmet needs. Anger that serves has sparked, we know, great social movements. Civil rights, women's rights, environmental rights, and on and on. And unfortunately, these movements are not only have people who are focused on what they're for, but there are many who get drawn into the movements who have unhealed wounds around the injustices they've experienced. And so really, a lot of the work that we do here in spiritual community, and I know it's beginning to happen more or be encouraged more within these different movements, is to do the deep inner healing that has been caused by the injustices that we've experienced. So that is one of the things about mobilizing anger in community. It's about not only coming to services, which is really powerful, it's also being willing to go to the circles, to go to the classes, and really do the deep inner work that's going to transform your consciousness and help all of us use our anger in really powerful ways for good, to meet those things that are going on in our world, the injustices and so on, with great spiritual power. I love that idea, and because I think that's what we are here for. We're here for more than just to hear a message or whatever. We're here because our hearts are longing for a world that works for all, a world where we can deal with these injustices and turn things around. And together we are we're powerful with God individually, but together as community, we have great power. So, the toxic anger that can harm us can therefore heal if we give it sufficient time and space for us to grieve our experiences of injustice. Mobilizing anger in community. The question then we can ask together is, how can anger be directed into courage, compassion, and creative solutions? And, you've heard the term activism, social activism. Social activism becomes sacred activism when it is directed by love. That's the key. So collaboration as spiritual practice. Did you know collaboration? It's not only this amazing skill, but it's also truly a spiritual practice when we understand what its purpose is. The higher purpose of collective, getting together as a collective for change of some kind. So as co-creators with Spirit, we were never meant to navigate life alone. we weren't. We really gain so much by studying together, by healing together, by creating together. So much. And you can see I'm really emphasizing this core value of community that we hold as a spiritual community. And the other thing to keep in mind is that this spiritual practice of collaboration is a way that we embody the spiritual principle of oneness, the interconnectedness of each other and of all life. Through collaboration, we can make room for the divine to express in and through as each one of us, and to not only serve each as an individual, but to serve the collective as a whole and to serve the greater good. You can see how the layers are: self, spiritual community, greater world. And so as we take part, and again, I'm inviting you to really understand this powerful thing called collaboration. That's why we brought Reverend Dr. Susie in. We really wanted to get a beautiful practice of collaboration going on in the spiritual community, to come up with our sacred plan. So it was our vision, the visioning, as Jim described it. It was the community core values that came from a survey that we took, and then it is putting it into creative solutions, action steps to move us forward and help us to not only embody the vision and live the vision and be the vision, but to see the vision unfolding before our very eyes. And so finally, let me make sure that I've covered everything. Yes. Okay. So let me just sum this up now. So if we can imagine the core of the earth. The center of the core of the earth is fire, isn't it? Hot, molten fire. And that core, that molten core, helps to shape the earth, through volcanoes and so on and so forth. So the hard crust of the earth and the atmosphere and everything over time has been shaped and continues to be shaped from the core. Can you see the parallel now between that and our anger? The anger, that core, that fire within, in reaction or response to what's going on that we feel is out of alignment with love, can be turned into a great power, a great passion, a spiritual power when it's coming from or immersed in the energy of love. So let's turn within in prayer. So hearing that message, letting it sink deep into our very being. This message of mastery of our emotions. There is an awareness in me in this moment that we live, move, and have our being in one infinite universal presence. Love, infinite love, the infinite love of God. That presence that is omnipresence, and therefore it exists in, through, and as each one of us. There's no separation. So that fiery energy of love is available to each and every one of us at all times. Nobody's left out of love's presence or love's power. And so from this clear knowing, I know that each one of us are gifted with the clarity, the awareness, and the great deep desire to be a vehicle and a vessel of love, to allow that love to flow into our actions, to allow that love to use our emotions, whether it's fear or anger. This amazing ability that we have as spiritual beings to help to shape and mold not only our personal worlds, but our spiritual community and the greater world. Great power is at hand, my friends, within each one of us. A power for good, which is the power of love. So I am just knowing that there is a greater awakening in each one of us as we move through this day and days to come, and our ability, therefore, to choose love in our words, in our thoughts, in our actions. And even when we see something out there that seems out there that looks like it's not love, is that we understand it's a call for love, and we are the love that is being called into expression. So I give my thanks for that clarity. I give my thanks for the heartfelt knowing that runs so deep within me. When I give thanks for knowing that this word that I speak, this message that was offered today, the prayers that were offered today, the music that was offered today and is offered today, makes a profound difference in each and everyone's lives. The connections that we make, the circles, our classes, all of our connections continue to deepen us in this truth of our being and this great mission to show up as agents of love. So I release this word now to the action of universal law, and I invite us all to accept it with a powerful yes! And so it is. Thank you, my friends.
Calling all souls wandering in the dark.